We got some major Kansas City Chiefs rumors to get to here on this edition of the Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we are going to talk about what this guy is up to next. Chiefs GM Brett Veach. He's already been wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline, but there could be one more move to be had before we get to Tuesday's deadline. We'll tell you about what the Chiefs are potentially working on coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Folks, we are getting so close to 60,000 subscribers here on the channel, just 144 away from reaching that next milestone. For the latest happenings in your Kansas City Chiefs all season long, you got to be subscribed to the channel. We're bringing you daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, live shows every Tuesday, watch parties on game days, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all right here on the Chiefs Report. Subscribe now, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. According to reports, the Chiefs are monitoring the cornerback market. This comes after a busy week for Chiefs GM Brett Veach after he made not one but 2 trades, bringing in wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins and edge rusher Joshua Uche. I guess he wants to go by Joshua. That's weird. Whatever. I'd rather go by Josh, but that's just me. Nonetheless, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler putting out this report saying the following. Cornerback remains a need after Jaylen Watson went down for the season, and the belief is that Kansas City is at least monitoring that market close to the deadline. The Chiefs are not pressed to make a move, but he will be open to it, and their 2025 draft haul is still in good shape after acquiring a third-round pick in the L'Jarius Sneed trade. The Chiefs also love retreads, players who know their culture, so it's noteworthy that former Chiefs Marcus Peters and Steven Nelson are still out there on the free agent market. So you can see here, we're not just talking trade, but also potentially on the free agent side of things. And if we've learned anything from Brett Veach over this last week, despite the lack of cap space, just $4 million before they made the moves they did. If there's a will, there's a way. If Brett Veach wants to get something done, if there's something that he can't do without, he will find a way to make it work. The man is a magician, folks. Let's tell you about the current situation for the Chiefs. Currently, right now, their cap space is around $2.63 million. Not a whole lot of money to spend at this point in time. And the need at the cornerback spot comes after Jaylen Watson was placed on injured reserve. He's out for the remainder of the season with an ankle issue, and he was playing very well before that injury occurred. You have the trade deadline coming up on November 5th. That is Tuesday afternoon. So if they want to make a trade, the clock is ticking on them to make a move. And when you talk about replacing Watson, this is somebody that played in 90% of the Chiefs' defensive snaps while he was healthy. So it is a lot to pick up from where Watson left off. And it's not the only injury that's occurred at that position. Remember, Nazeeh Johnson on Sunday is on the injury list right now with a concussion. He's expected to return, though, but nonetheless, the Chiefs are shorthanded at the position. Now, I'll say this. The Chiefs don't necessarily have to do anything. We've seen that this Chiefs team does have options. They have guys that they like there on that roster and potentially some practice squad elevations. They don't necessarily have to make a move if they don't want to. But with that said, I would expect them to add somebody, whether it's via trade or whether it's free agency. I don't see Brett Veach just sitting there and doing absolutely nothing at all, because what we've seen from the trend going back before even the season began when Hollywood Brown went down, they have found a corresponding move one way or the other. Whether it's a free agent signing or a trade, they've been very active when it comes to trying to find those replacement players. Should the Chiefs add another corner? What do you guys think? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. If you're looking for tickets to Chiefs games, you have come to the right place, folks. They have all the Chiefs tickets that you could be looking for. And the thing I love about Game Time, if you make a last-minute decision, let's say for whatever reason, you're trying to convince the girlfriend, hey, I need to go to this game, and it comes down to the 11th hour. Well, you're in luck because ticket prices, they go down the closer it gets to kickoff. Isn't that incredible, folks? You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then you choose your seat and check out their seat views. Get the 3D visual. See what your seat is like. And then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. And we got a great deal that we're offering right now, folks. On your first purchase with Game Time, if you use the promo code ChatSports, we are giving you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. First purchase only. Check it out today. Download Game Time. $20 off. Promo code ChatSports. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. What time is it? Game Time. Game Time, proud partner of the Chiefs Report. So I got 3 names to watch of who the Chiefs could potentially bring in as options at that corner position. One is a trade option in Marshon Lattimore. And then the 2 free agent options that you heard mentioned by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, a couple of former Chiefs players, Marcus Peters and Steven Nelson. Let's start with Marshon Lattimore. Christopher Knox, a Bleacher Report, actually brought up this possibility, and he said the following. The Chiefs aren't done making moves. They should strongly consider making a play for Lattimore. Kansas City is now a defense-first team, and it lost cornerback Jaylen Watson to a fractured ankle in Week 7. Now, I think Lattimore would be a nice fit for this defense, especially all things considered, where they're at with losing a starter in Watson and trying to find a starter caliber player in Lattimore. That makes sense. But this is a tough position money-wise. We mentioned earlier that the Chiefs have just over $2 million in cap space. Well, Lattimore's cap hit for 2024 comes in at a roughly $14.62 million. So you would have to negotiate with the Saints, a little art of the deal action, if you will, to get the Saints to take on the vast majority of that contract. And that's not going to be easy to get these Saints to consider on that front. Lattimore, though, solid football player. You look at his statistics. His best season of late was back in 2021 when he had 3 interceptions for 68 tackles and 19 pass breakups this year. So far in 2024, he's accounted for 30 tackles and 2 pass breakups. And the trade option I'm looking at, I know that the Saints are hoping for a 3rd-round pick, but probably not going to get a 3rd-round pick for him. I think you're looking at giving up about a 2025 4th-round pick if you wanted to bring in Marshon Lattimore to Kansas City. We'll talk about the other 2 players in just a moment, but let's ask you, what do you think about the idea of Lattimore? Chime in. Let us know. Type T for trade, P for pass, if you think the Chiefs should make a move for Lattimore. All right, let's talk about Marcus Peters now. This comes from Joe Summers of KC Kingdom, writing the following. 31-year-old veteran Marcus Peters is still a free agent, but was still fairly effective last year with the Raiders. Considering his proven skills as a turnover machine and difference maker, Peters would be an intriguing option to provide depth in the secondary. Now, personally, I have mixed feelings on Marcus Peters. I was covering those Chiefs teams there when he was a rookie and his time in Kansas City, and I had some interesting experiences with Marcus Peters myself in the locker room and dealing with him and seeing his antics. And we've seen that he's had some problems from time to time from different teams he's been at, and even recently with the Raiders, there was some issues going on and off the field. But you can't deny that he's been a talented football player, that he's had a very good career. Won the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year award right here in Kansas City, a 3-time Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro. And we mentioned the retreads. One thing that we also notice, I think, when you look at that Kareem Hunt situation is, yes, Kareem Hunt had a past, but he came in hungry, right, with something to prove, and he's been great for Kansas City so far. Marcus Peters, at this point in his career, at the very end of it, you would hope that Marcus Peters has grown up, that he's shown some maturity, that he could look at this and say, wow, I got a real chance here. I can't screw this up. I can be part of a Super Bowl championship caliber team if I just keep my act together, keep it straight, and be a good teammate here. That's what you'd be hoping for out of Marcus Peters. And we talk about what he's done statistically speaking. Last year, the 12 games he played in Las Vegas, 43 tackles, 1 TFL, 5 pass breakups, 1 interception. The year prior in Baltimore, 47 tackles, 2 TFLs, 6 pass breakups, and 1 interception. He's still been a solid football player despite all the issues and such that's gone on behind the scenes. Now, as far as Steven Nelson goes, we'll talk about him for a moment. Nelson actually retired from the National Football League back on June 9th. And typically speaking, we don't talk about retirement players too often here. But if you're Nelson here, this might be a situation you can get talked into pretty easily to come to Kansas City. You're not having to play the full season. You didn't have to go through training camp and all that. You're just looking to help your former team go back and play with Andy Reid and be a part of a Super Bowl run, potentially speaking here, with playing, half the season at this point? That might be convincing for Steven Nelson, even to play for a low contract. And you think about this, Steven Nelson last year, I was surprised that he ended up retiring because he had a career high in INTs last season with 4 in 2023. A lot of experience with the Chiefs, Steelers, as well as the Eagles and the Texans, 130 career games played. And you can see not even just the interceptions. He had a good mark in tackles with 63 last year, 12 pass breakups. If the options are these two, between Nelson and Peters, I'll take Peters. I think Nelson is the better football player, and I don't get the off-the-field drama that I would get with Marcus Peters on that front. To me, I think Nelson makes more sense if all things are created equal and both these guys are willing to play for a minimum contract that works with your cap situation. Pick one, decide. Which one would you rather go with? Would you rather bring back Marcus Peters or would you rather bring back Steven Nelson? Type MP for Marcus Peters, type SN for Steven Nelson. For continuing Kansas City Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Chiefs Report for free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.